got rid of him. It was a shock to everybody, and the team's better now because of the moves that he's made to the state.
Yeah, I might surprise you guys here, I guess. I gave him an A, a solid A.
Whoa!
Yeah, hang on. I got to trash him a little bit. I really thought I was going to give him a B. Like, when I started brainstorming all this. Yeah, but, kind of in the middle of you guys, is where I am with a lot of things here. This could be the third year in a row we win the AL East. So that's good. He's undefeated at finishing first, as far as that goes. And we were last the 2 previous years, before he got here. So
Charrington.
Yeah. / Lakino. We don't really know who was responsible for that. But
that whole I hate Larry Aquino.
Yeah, and you might even lump Bill James into there because his fingerprints might have been all over a lot of that stuff.
Well,
yeah. So, 2 years in a row. I also look at the fact that other than the Travis Shaw trade, we're not really regretting anything. Moncada isn't, Godzilla or whatever. He's not crushing it right now.
Mendoza,
probably won't be pitching. Well, he might maybe by the end of this year. I don't know. He did have Tommy John, so I don't know what his timetable is. But he's definitely at least 2 or 3 years away from the majors at this point, and that would have been the same case as if he were with the Red Sox. So, so you got Mendoza. Kopech, I mean, we were all joking about how he's probably on the verge of Tommy John if he's trying to throw the ball like 107 miles an hour, whatever he was doing that day in practice or whatever. Excuse me. And so I don't really regret any of the trades, so to speak, outside of Travis Shaw. And if Thornburg comes in and does what Uehara did in 2013 and defends these one-run leads constantly in the month of October, I might say, all right, you know what, maybe that was worth it. But so that's kind of where I stand on him. The one thing I'm still kind of bitter about is the fact that he kept John Farrell after the 2016 season and kind of forced one more year of him on us. And I knew all of last year that it just wasn't going to end well with him. He just wasn't going to be a guy that was going to be able to figure it out in the month of October. And there were other factors, so I'm not going to blame it all on him. It was a very tired lineup. I mean, we didn't know that Sale was going to be kind of blown up by then necessarily. With Price, we kind of assumed that he was going to be ready to go by the start of that postseason, and he wasn't. So, and obviously, the bullpen, which I guess would be on him. But I was just really pissed off that Dombrowski kept him around, and it took me quite a while to get over that, especially where we lost Lovello in the process. But I can't really, I can only kind of hold so much of that against him. I really just have to look at what he's done move for move. And like David said, we needed an ace. Initially it was Price. Obviously hasn't gone very well, but he did turn right around and immediately got Chris Sale, which is the best starting pitcher we possibly could have acquired at that time. And we went and we got him. And then he got
a Cy Young winner.
Who's that?
Eventually, Porcello eventually.
Oh, Porcello. Yeah. Well, that was a Sherrington move.
Oh, yeah, it was a Sherrington.
Yeah, but Dombrowski agreed to the trade, though, because he was on the other side of it at the time.
Yeah.
He probably sent him over and then texted John Henry, like, keep this guy. He's going to win a Cy Young.
Don't move him.
I'll be there in a couple years.
You're welcome. See you in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you in 2 years. I don't know how the whispering is going to come out on this, but yeah.
I like the effort.
Yeah.
An added effect.
Exactly. But yeah, so I give him an A. I give him an A. You know, and JD Martinez. That's what I was about to get to. I mean, that was like the deal of a lifetime. How many GMs in baseball right now are kicking their own ass, saying they could have had him for 120? Maybe the Red Sox would have matched him, but none of them really tried outside of Arizona, by the looks of it. So
yeah, no one really cared.
Yeah,
the waiting game that he played, though, that was the most impressive display from a GM that I've ever seen.
Dombrowski was like, "Yeah, my foot's here in the sand. Here's the line. I'm staying here."
Yeah,
I'm not budging, basically.
Nobody gave him a reason to move, so
Why bet on yourself? Why overbid yourself? And that was the best part, is that he knew. All right, I offered 125. Any other offers? Yeah, Arizona said 80. Okay, I'm still the best offer. I'm not going to leave.
Yeah.
Very few times does Boris not get his way, and you know that was a huge shot to his ego at that point.
It was, but the one thing that Boris always, at the end, he always wins is that player option in 2 years.
Yep.
Because he's going to say, like, oh, wow, you missed out on a couple $1 million down. Now you're going to get $40 million a year, so you're good.
He very well
like every
could.
Boris deal has that player option.
They really do. That's the crazy part. Or it's like, yeah, there's no player option, but you got paid $180 million and you're a career 220 hitter. So somehow
they're front loaded.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
And another interesting thing, since you brought him up, I remember when Jason Varitek signed in, I think after the 2005 season, and someone else offered him more money. I forget who it was, but he elected to stay with the Red Sox, and they that's the year they put the captain's C on his jersey. And Boris was so mad at him for taking the lesser deal, he didn't even show up to the press conference. So I was kind of wondering that this year, was he going to show up at the JD Martinez press conference when it was literally, he signed for literally half of what Boris initially asked for. So he wouldn't have been mad at JD, obviously. He probably would have been more pissed at Dombrowski, but I was wondering if he would show up, and he actually did, and he kind of played it cool, like he at least appeared not to be bitter, while he was at the press conference, and it worked out good. And hopefully the Red Sox find a way to lock him up, even if they do have to overpay slightly, because at least we've seen him do it now. We didn't see Hanley Ramirez do it in Boston before he got that ridiculous contract, and we didn't see Pablo Sandoval do it when he got his ridiculous contract, and Sherrington, Lucchino, whoever you want to put it on, overpaid for them. They outbidded themselves, at least on Ramirez, because nobody else was in that ballpark. I want to say that the Giants matched us on Sandoval, and he unfortunately picked us. But yeah, so good move on Dombrowski, and that was another reason I gave him an A. So. But with that said, we've talked about on previous shows, it would not surprise me at all if he is out of a job next year because the window closed on him. And whether it ends up being a failure or not, I mean, Austin, do you look at the Texas Rangers front office? Like, does that seem like a failure to you, where they got to 2 World Series and they didn't win, or are you more like a glass is half full?
At the time, right? It wasn't a failure at all because John Daniels was so young. He was the youngest GM in the league. He might still be the youngest GM in the league, actually, just because he was that young when he started. He was in his, I think, late 20s, maybe early 30s. They got to 2 World Series, and that basically locked him up for life there. I mean, that Texas Rangers front office now is a complete failure. They've failed to replenish the farm system. They haven't done it for the past couple of years. They've had opportunities. They haven't had any chance to even make the playoffs in the past year and a half. At this point, it's a failure.
Okay, well, and that's fine, but I look at it as a good run, where the fan base was excited. So
that market.
Yeah, and I want to say that the Milwaukee Brewers front office guy is pretty young, so I don't. He could be the youngest, but at this point, I mean, yeah. And Epstein was only 28 when he was hired as well, so there is somewhat of a precedence for younger executives getting hired. And Dombrowski, I think, is old. He's like
He looks old.
He's up there, I want to say, but he's just so experienced as far as being a top executive goes. So, but as I was saying, it wouldn't surprise me to see him go because he's not really
standard.
He's not really a builder though. Like we're gonna need our farm system to be rebuilt, and he doesn't really have the track record of that. We'll need to find another Ben Sherrington type guy who's not, so clingy with his prospects, over the long haul. But
the Boston Standard will probably end up doing him in if they don't succeed.
Right. Yeah.
The bar is just so high.
Right. We're a culture of winning. If you look at the whole city,
the entire city, honestly.
Yeah, with all the other mainstream sports. So all right. So not really any major discrepancies there all the way through. We're all
pretty close.
Yeah,
we've all been watching the same team, thankfully, and sometimes I wonder where these people, what certain people are watching when they watch the games, and it's glad to know we're all watching the same game.
Well, there's people that criticize Dombrowski for his draft picks this year. There's no way that he could have known that all three of his top 3 draft picks were going to have surgery within the next couple months. How can you criticize a guy for that?
All in random stuff too, like random.
Yeah. Well, what about is Feldman one of those guys or no? Durbin Feldman.
I know Casas and Swisher for sure.
Those two for sure, but what's his face just got called up to Greenville last episode that we had.
Okay, so that's Feldman, so he's healthy then.
Yeah, he's healthy, but yeah,
it's the top 2 for sure. I think there's one more in the top 5 rounds. I think.
Yeah, and there's even Jason Groom, which was on him, but no, that's not his fault. It wasn't like all right, this guy's slipping in the draft because his arms held together by duct tape. He's like, I'll take him. That wasn't the thing, and some people just don't understand what they're watching. But it's good to know that we are, and that we are on the same page. And this Red Sox team's the best team in Major League Baseball right now.
68 wins.
Yeah, and they have very few holes, and that's the best part about it. This is not we're beating up on a bad division. This isn't the Yankees stink and all the other teams stink. The Yankees are the second or third best team in baseball. They're in our division. The Rays are going to finish 500 or above. Toronto, they're going to sell, so they're going to finish, below, and the Orioles are god-awful. But then you look at the Orioles, and they might even have the season series against the Yankees right now, so they're even playing some of those team stuff. But, the Sox team's in a great position, and they don't need to add a Machado or a Hand or an Iglesias at the deadline. They really don't. There's some teams that do, but we're not one of them.
Yeah.
Well, and think about this, every now and then we say a couple of negative things about the team. This team is 2 wins away from being 700.
Yeah.
700. That's ridiculous in July.
And I can think of one game, the opening day of the season. Imagine if we were next 69. And that's just one game.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's going to be an interesting second half, and I forget, I think it might have been the pregame show. Tom Caron actually was saying, for the first time in a long time, we're going to have meaningful baseball in the month of October, regardless of how many wins, because the Yankees are right there with us. And so it's been a while since we've had a race. Last year we had a race unexpectedly, but that's because the wheels were falling off on us, and we won, what was it, only 1 out of our last 8 games or something ridiculous like that. And so this year we're shaping up really well, and I think I've said this on the previous episode, but I like how we're getting the weaker teams out of the way early in the month of July, and then we have the better teams late, because then we're going to know what we truly have, and we're going to have
we're made of.
Yeah, we're going to have a better idea of what October looks like. If we were to have a week schedule in the month of in the month of September, then maybe we end up sleepwalking, right into that ALDS like we did in 2016, and then 3 games later we're out of it. So at least we're going to be dialed in, and we're going to know if Chris Sale is lights out in September. I mean, I'm going to be that much more optimistic come October.